Let's turn our attention to Guyana. We've talked about the offshore operations. By 2027, the country is expected to be producing over 1 million barrels of oil per day. That's going to place us at around the number 2 spot in South America in particular, just after Brazil. And SBM, of course, has been instrumental in that process. Here in country, the company is involved in multiple projects where community support is included, projects relating to agriculture, catering, food production, and in many people, particularly with the industry being new to Guyana itself, look at companies like SBM Offshore supporting these types of initiatives, knowing that they're an oil and gas company. And they wonder, well, what is SBM Offshore doing supporting Hubu Farm here in Guyana? Aquaculture, what is it doing supporting agriculture and food production on the Linden Highway with Plimpton Farms? The various projects that the company is involved in, why are you supporting these types of projects as an oil and gas company?
Yeah, so, we talk a lot about FPSOs and operational performance and these things. That's really about what we do as a core of our business. When we talk about the projects you're just mentioning, it's a lot about who we are. So SBM is a company that provides big infrastructure offshore. But as our identity and as we settle our operations into various countries around the world, is about becoming what are we as a citizen. And then what we do at the corporate level, we have a commitment towards our sustainability goals, and it says sort of what is material to the company. And what is material to the company is to be environmentally aware, is to take responsibility for and have a passion for unlocking sort of local opportunities where are the value chains that we engage in and local initiatives can come together, and we can create circular economies that contribute to either an environmental impact that is positive or a social economic impact that is locally that substitute, for instance, imported goods, like the farming question, where we not want to compete in the local environment, but we see an opportunity whereby coming into the value chain and being a catalyst in the value chain, we can substitute imported goods by locally produced goods, and therefore combine a learning process or knowledge transfer into communities where you can promote healthy living through a green produce, for instance, and also create local economies that get to a scale where they have their own value chain and an own growth path independently of us. So what we try to do is to combine these economics that surround the activities we do, and take our identity into that and say, where can our knowledge be helpful? How can we style our supply chain in a way that it integrates this? Or where can we just take community engagement that fosters education or biodiversity, which are within our sustainability priorities, the instruction to all our teams around the world: look for those opportunities. These are strategically important to us, but they cannot be because we state it in the annual report. It has to materialize in real initiatives that we see on the ground. And the team here in Guyana has been extremely good at identifying such opportunities that combine that strategic importance and a full awareness of the supply chain that we activate through our activities here, and look for those opportunities to create circular economies or positive impact. But it needs to be a real impact. It needs to be real measurable impact that we can see that we're making a difference, and that it will be have its own right for being, even if SBM is not there tomorrow. So that is fundamental to what we do. We have an ambition at the corporate level, but it needs to translate to initiatives locally that have real impact in local society.
Support for local content is significantly important here in Guyana, and even before the legislation came into play in 2021, and much more so thereafter. In addition to supporting stakeholders, NGOs like the ones that we just mentioned and that you expanded on, suppliers, and helping to build local capacity in the area of companies that are providing services to SBM itself. You're using several local companies to fabricate fixtures for the FPSOs. Very soon, 100% of crewing services will be provided by local companies. What is driving SBM's motivation behind some of these initiatives? Look at the fabrication companies, for example. You're fabricating steel here in Guyana, and it has to be shipped to Singapore, where these vessels are being constructed. That must be a bit more costly rather than doing it there.
Yeah, I think a lot of the engagement into the local community, we need to think of it long term. This is not per se the fabrication of that steel, whether that's economic or not, and sending it maybe to China, right, or to Singapore. It's about knowledge transfer. It's about enabling capabilities locally to kickstart a certain infrastructure that could then be a permanent supplier to services offshore, for instance. So that could be on things like steel or welding that we need continuously offshore, but it has to be to a certain standard. So when the standard in the local community or what that can be provided locally doesn't meet it, we want to be transferring the knowledge as to what does a certification requirement mean, and how does it translate into quality procedures, and to be part of the economy to kickstart that so that it becomes then autonomous thereafter. It's no point to artificially inject capital into a local content initiative that will internally depend on that injection of artificial capital. That doesn't work in the economy. So it's about knowledge transfer and being there to serve in that way, that say, these are the standards that apply. If you guys work with it together, we could find a way of helping you to reach that standard, and then you become a qualified supplier for us on a permanent basis, or to whatever other infrastructure projects that may be coming to the country. That is one point when it comes to the people side. And we passed on significant. We've gone in with both capital and also passing on all our operating experience that is in our management system, our operating practices, into the training facility, the Factor, where for us the long-term goal is to have access to a world-class training facility in country. For us, SBM, we have 82 nationalities. We've been pioneering in many developing countries for decades. And what always comes out as the winning ingredient is the ability to train locally and to manage, competency development locally in the place of operation. And that is, even from an economic perspective, why should we be flying people from around the world to work on assets that are out here when we could pass on our experience, bring it into a training facility that efficiently can do an upbringing of local workforce for excellent jobs, long-term jobs and long-term careers offshore Guyana. But these are to the same standards as the units we have in Brazil or in other parts of the world. It's also about exporting resources and competency from Guyana in the future because of these facilities. So what we do is to work with a long-term view, what these operations are going to need over the next few decades, and to put infrastructure in place for that now, and to bring all our experience into that and give that an opportunity to grow locally here. So that is fundamental to the economic equation and to our duty as an operating company in country to be generous and share that, but also be very explicit about what are the standards that apply for this to meet the requirements of the industry.